Everybody. I've done some material on the T.A.G program called Talented and Gifted that I was in when I was a kid. And this is the school, Wellington Elementary, where I attended the T.A.G classroom. And I attended that classroom between 3rd and 5th grade. And my brother was also in this same program, T.A.G, at this same school, Wellington Elementary. And that was in the 80s, okay? And so this was right before, the timeline of this is right before we went to Eastern Washington to live on the farm. And so this was the school that I was attending in the T.A.G program right up until then. And you can see here, it's kind of a humorous thing there. It says, "Have a great summer," and it's spelled wrong. It's kind of funny. But what's trippy about this place is it's almost like a time warp. I mean, honestly, it doesn't look a bit different. It tripped me out when I approached here. Like, I haven't really been here since I was maybe 9 or 10 years old. And like, it just trips me out how much this school looks the same. It's all like looks the same. It's trippy. It doesn't look any different. Sorry, I'm just like, I'm still processing it because I just arrived. But so what I was trying to explain to people on this article that I did, and I reposted it recently because YouTube originally deleted it, my channel that had this article, but it was about how I felt strongly that within America, that whatever the intentions of the T.A.G programs are, there's two different ones that I know of that are prominent in America. One's called T.A.G and one's called GATE. They still exist to this day. I don't know if this still has the T.A.G program in place, but effectively the way it worked was I used to go to Canyon Creek Elementary, not that far away from here, from kindergarten until 2nd grade. And then in 2nd grade, they had a program where you could enter into from 3rd grade up. And here, or maybe it was earlier, I don't know, but I was offered the opportunity to come here in 2nd grade. So I took this IQ test and I was in like one of the highest percentiles and I did a good job on it. So they offered me a position, or rather a slot within this program. And this is where I was between then. But the thing I remember about this class was like, if a lot of us weren't considered to be like little geniuses, we certainly would have been considered almost like problem children in a way, because a lot of us were just sort of like, we had different personalities. I mean, I wasn't any different in that I had a hard time listening or paying attention to people. I always did when I was a kid. It was hard for me to sit in class and listen, unless it really interested me, in which case I was completely attentive and I gave my full attention to whoever was there. And I really thought about what that amounts to, because I think that these programs did bring in a lot of kids that, I don't know what you would call it. I mean, I think if I were to really look back on it, I think a lot of kids in that program, I don't know if I would be included in there, were almost like high-functioning autists. I don't think that I am necessarily, but I think that some of the kids in the class definitely were. But we all have things like quirks in our personality. I remember that distinctly about the T.A.G kids in the T.A.G classroom, is nearly all of us had certain quirks, at least, even if we could do all kinds of uber genius things. And I wasn't even nearly the smartest kid in one of these classes. I'm telling you, I was actually the Bart Simpson of the class. You had some kids in this class with me that were like producing like little tornado machines, like in a box, before they were even 10 years old. They were doing little science experiments that were just like the movie Real Genius, the way that kid in the beginning is making lasers when he's barely in high school. So they recruit him into college early. We were all kids that were like that were in this program. We had just had so much education before we even got our education that by the time we got into school, it was boring to us. So they had an environment for us where we could learn more freely and openly. And so that's what this was. And I would say it was good for a person of my type of brain, because I could more roam freely and like do things at my own pace during the week. So I like it. I wish that more people had access to this type of learning. I think more kids would do better, especially now. I mean, I don't think that type of learning environment should be restricted to T.A.G. I think that quite a few different types of learning types would benefit from it. But my point is that I think that what winds up happening is that these programs are co-opted to sort of track the child geniuses to see what kind of inventions and ideas that they're going to come up with in the future. Because if they're already being able to do high-level things like that at that age, you can imagine what groups like Nazis and other types of deep state folks, you know, they exist, folks, come on, my material covers it, how they would co-opt this program basically to track and follow and trace the child geniuses because of the innovations that they would be producing in the future. You would definitely, if you were like these folks that I know about, have access to timeline things and all these other types of technology, you would almost want to have something set up in advance to prevent them from, you know, getting some of their innovations out and learnings out. And so I've often wondered what the T.A.G program really produced once the kids left the T.A.G program, because my brother was in the T.A.G program and I was in the T.A.G program. And I feel like maybe it was designed in part was to partly harvest, I think, some of the intellectual property of some of the kids that were inside this program for a lifetime, and that some of the others that were in the program were there to benefit from a larger agenda. I've thought this was a potential thing just because of the experience that's gone on within my own family and knowing how they understood these programs, the educational programs and everything else like that. So, but anyways, it's really tripping me out how this school looks pretty much identical. Like it's almost had no renovations or anything done to it. And I haven't been here since 1989, I think, or 1989. So if you follow the storyline that I've been telling you folks about the Hanford Nuclear Reservation and everything else like that, I basically left here at Wellington Elementary and then went over to Mesa Elementary. So that last clip that I showed you from there, that's on my channel, you'll find it there. It's in front of Mesa. I left this school in Wellington in 1985. My grandfather is the one that drove me over for that last final move. And that's when I had that weird paranormal experience there at the farm. It was the transition between the two schools and the two areas. And so, because we're talking a little bit about timelines, I just wanted that to be, you know, more clearly stated, like how this all lines up timeline wise. So basically, this is the school, Wellington Elementary, that I was at between, that would be 1983 to 1985. And then, so from 1985, about the spring of 1985, we left this area. I left this school, the T.A.G program, and then I wound up over at the farm over there, and I wound up at Mesa Elementary. I've been kind of keeping something to myself that I'm just going to say here while I'm in front of Wellington. I do believe that some of the kids that were in that class with me, I've said this a little bit, have gone on to much larger careers where their identities have not been openly revealed. Like whatever names, like a few of them that were in my class are using different names today. And that I do believe that there's members of my family that have been involved with the concealment and the hiding of their names and identities, and that there was a much bigger reason why it happened. And that gets back to that whole T.A.G heiress. Like, who is the T.A.G heiress? I'm still trying to solve that mystery. I'm just not saying it that much right now. So anyways, thanks.